I'm out at my place out in Spring Point, Alberta today. Beautiful view of the mountains. This is May 9th. And everything here is looking pretty good. This field will eventually be seeded into canola, but she's pretty dirty right now. And of course, being my place, I only have the most interesting weeds. So here's one for you this week. I don't think I've ever showed before. This is yarrow. This is wild yarrow. There is different versions of it you can find at gardening centers, but has a very strong flavor. So if you're ever unsure as to what a weed like this is, just eat a piece of it. You'll know. Well, good morning. It is Monday and we got another week. We got some cool cloudy weather today. A couple flakes of snow are already coming down. And if you haven't already guessed by the perspective, I actually sold some drone footage. And New Farm provided me a GoPro Hero 8 in exchange for it. So we can do all sorts of fun stuff now, like have, you know, proper image stabilization and all that fun stuff. Hopefully I have to edit a little bit less wind noise out of video. And we can also now do first-person perspective. So just checking out some barley here this morning, and it is looking pretty good. A little bit of yellowing on the tip of this guy, probably from the cold temperatures, which is why he's kinked as well. But other than that, things here are looking pretty good. We need a little bit more emergence before we can really say for sure. But you can see here we do have clear rows forming, but not everything is up quite yet. Well, here's a Canada thistle that was emerged enough at pre-burn timing that it actually got a dosage of DB878. So as you can see, it is quite shrunk and stunted. The leaves are actually quite swollen and hard, and that growth point is just pretty well bleached. So this thistle might not necessarily be dead down to the roots, but it'll probably be severely stunted right up until we can hit it in crop with something. Well, here's that troublesome field from a few weeks ago that was all full of brome and foxtail and forage grasses, and as you can see now, it doesn't look nearly so green. Looks like we've gotten a pretty good kill on most of these grasses. There might still be some regrowth on some of this foxtail, but we have severely knocked it back for now, and the barley is now emerging. So, should be looking pretty good in here now. Well, it is now Tuesday morning and things are looking pretty good out here now. We still had a cool night and it's still cold and a little bit breezy this morning, but the peas are up real nice. These are doing really good. Just, you know, of course, there's your little scale leaf right there. And then these are our first true leaves here that are waiting to unfold. So these are looking pretty good. These are about to get rolled and we'll see how they look after that. Well, my little trial plots that I seeded last week are looking pretty good. Nobody's driven through them yet, so that's a bonus. But unfortunately, the rocket scientist that I am, I wasn't paying attention when I put these in, and I'm pretty sure this pivot wheel track is going to go right through them. So, might have to abandon that plan and just do in-crop on this farm somewhere else. Well, for those of you that have never seen a Horsch precision planter in operation, I found it stopped out here waiting for seed, so I thought I'd give a brief, quick overview on it. First off, you got your cart, which is similar to the air cart on an air drill, except this one doesn't have dry fertilizer. It has liquid fertilizer, but it also carries the seed. It pushes the seeds through blowers down into these hoses where they accumulate in a little container over there. From that container, they're precisely metered one at a time. So you can set your specific plant count for, say, in this case, 36,000 plants per square foot. Up in the front, you have trash managers. So these basically push that old corn straw out of the way and clean the seed row in preparation. Then you have double disc openers down here. So these two discs work in tandem together to basically cut a V-groove into the soil, into which that little rod will ride. And then that rod drops the seed and the fertilizer right into the row before these two wheels here combine together to pack it and create your nice seed bed. Alright, here's those big flick weeds from last week near Lethbridge, and they're looking a little bit worse for wear now. They've been sprayed and canola has been seeded in this field, so these guys are starting to go down pretty good now. It's been less than a week since they've been sprayed. I believe that was just Thursday. So, and here we go, the little yellow whitlow grass, definitely off color as well and starting to go down, so that's good. It'll prevent them from going to seed. Well, here's these first seeded lentils by the west side of Lethbridge, and these are looking really good. We are up. We got first true leaves are kind of unfolding here. Everything is looking great. Field itself is still pretty clean, but there is the odd volunteer canola here and there. This field was treated with Focus as a pre-burn, so that'll keep everything pretty well suppressed, but probably won't kill all of the canola in this kind of situation, but will definitely suppress all the grasses and the kochias. Well, we're Wednesday now, and as you can see, it's another beautiful spring day. Temperature at 0, and it is currently attempting to snow. It did rain a bit overnight, but didn't amount to a whole lot. As you can see here, she's still pretty dry underneath the crust, so not a whole lot of moisture there. And of course, we got some canola. It's just been seeded in the ground here, so hopefully we get enough moisture penetration that it can get in there, although the seed is sitting in some decent moisture for now. Here's a good example of some of the variability I'm seeing in seeding this year, just based on how hard the soil is, where the snow drifts were sitting, where the moisture levels are, and even, you know, just the tilt of, say, a drill. So you can see this row here was seeded a little bit deeper, and we have wheat emerging quite nicely. Right next to it, we have a whole row of wheat seed that was barely ½ an inch into the ground, and you can see how dry the soil is here. This seed is basically just dead dry and hard. So to get a bunch of these germinated, we're going to have irrigation or a more substantial rain than we've had so far. Well, for those of you that are non-farmers that like to watch my videos, here's a quick rundown on how a modern air seeder works. So first off, you've got the cart. The cart is basically controlled by the tractor. The operator tells how much of what product he wants. The cart dispenses it through air fans on the bottom, basically. Those blow through hoses up to the main distributor, and then that goes out to the smaller distributors. There is 2 distributors for each section. One is for mid-row products and one is for seed products. So then these products come up to these smaller distributors, and these go down to the individual seeding shanks. So each one of these basically just cuts its own furrow into the soil. It's got a little carbide tip, and down on the bottom, right in here, it has a little hole. And that's what dispenses the seed into the ground, along with usually a fertilizer product through those. And then up here we have our mid-row opener. So this particular machine, this is a disc opener, and this cuts a nice little furrow right in between the seed rows and places fertilizer product away from the seed where it won't cause any harm to the seed. And then finally at the very back we have the packer wheels, and these are in line with the seeding shanks there. And these will close up the row behind that and ensure good seed to soil contact, which helps get the moisture up against the seed. Here is some wild buckwheat growing in the fall rye here. So first true leaves are just coming out of the cotyledons, and even it, you can't quite see the proper shape to it yet, but it's getting there. And of course the ever-present flicksweeds and sow thistles are growing as well, and the kochia. Here's something I don't get to see with this much difference very often. I hope this shows up on camera, but you can see there's some radically different green colors in this field. From close to me here, really dark green, to just a little farther out, more of a lime color. And this fall rye was seeded in a real hurry in September because of the weather we were getting at the time, and it was put in with no nitrogen fertilizer. So now what we're seeing is nitrogen deficiency appearing across the field. And hopefully that'll be corrected in the next few days as we get some urea broadcast in here and watered in with the pivot. Well, here's what's left of the quackgrass patch by Horsch. It's looking well and thoroughly dead now after being hit with 2 liters of glyphosate. Let sit for a couple days and then get it seeded through. So it should be well and truly under control now. Here's some of these rhizomes were all over the ground here, and they all seem to be kind of dead and crispy, so that is a good sign. Down by McGrath this morning, and the lentils are starting to come up pretty good here now. So these little guys are just breaking ground. There's quite a few that are just kind of underneath the trash here if you dig for them. And this is what they look like as I dig them up. So you can see they've germinated pretty well. Most of them are just at or above soil surface, so everything's looking good. Oh, and look, there is a click beetle. So this is the adult form of the wireworm, in case you didn't know. Let me grab him here. Come on, you son of a bitch. There we go. If I can make them click. There we go. Well, down here in the McGrath area, things are definitely a little behind compared to the Lethbridge and West area. Soil temperatures down here are quite a bit colder, and that is causing cereals in particular to be very slow to emerge. This has been in the ground for more than a week, and you can see it's nicely in the moisture, but really it's only been germinated for a couple days. Just at the canola field by Lethbridge, and you can see we still got really spotty emergence. We got a nice row here that peters out, and then nothing here. Oh, there's a bunch. There's part of a row, and over here just a couple plants here and there. So this is currently getting irrigated at the moment, and hopefully it'll look a little bit better next week. All right, now so here by Lethbridge, my first seeded corn is germinated. So you can see this one, the root is coming out, and we've got the coleoptile starting to emerge here. This one is in much the same shape here. This one here was just barely starting. So these are looking pretty good. After a little bit more moisture and some warmer temperatures, these will really get going. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you next week.